Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next game of the NASA Launchpad multiplayer marathon. We have The Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past randomizer 3-player multi-world. Our runners are going to be Razorflame Kun, RaikouRider, and Stump230. So, the way a multi-world generates is it takes you give it a number of players. And it says, okay, we're going to take all of the items in all 3-player seeds, put them all into one big pool, and then just distribute them amongst the 3-player seeds, factoring into account each player's individual progression logic. So, for example, Raikou could have something like a hook shot for Razor, or Stump could have something like a mushroom for Raikou, something to that effect. Basically, the items are crossed in amongst themselves. And this cross-randomization means that you'll have basically each player finding each other's items to help them progress. Now, one of the things we do have here is each player's crystals and pendants are going to be individually assigned player. So, for example, one player could have Eastern be a 5-6 crystal, the other player could have it be a blue pendant. This will change certain items that are required for the player's go mode based on what spawns as a required dungeon or not. For example, if Turtle Rock is not required for one player, they won't need the Ice Rod, strictly speaking, to beat the game, but there could still be a progression item on Trinex. And that's the thing, is all of the players need to find all the items that every player needs in order to hit their respective go mode. Now, there are certain items that are going to be required across all players. The Moon Pearl, the Hammer, the Bow, 2 swords. No matter what, you're going to need those for all 3 players, because all 3 players will need to be Ganon, and all 3 players will need to climb Ganon's tower. One second, folks. Now, the runners are able to communicate with each other, as that's kind of necessary for a multi-world. But, yeah. This should be a good run. All 3 of these folks are able to go through this game without major issues, so... yeah. We're in for quite a good time here, I think. Now, I'm not quite sure if the runners are going to start with a Houlihan. Well, it looks like they are off, and all 3 have started at Link's house. Except for Stump, he started in Hyrule Castle, and it looks like everybody found their own items. Raikou's going to do a map check, so he has crystals at Eastern and Desert, and a pendant at Hera. Looks like Razor is going to go check there. So you can see that 5-7 crystals at Hera for Stump. Desert is a crystal, and Eastern's a pendant. For Razor, of 5-6 crystals at Eastern, Hera's a pendant, and Desert's a regular crystal. We saw a Hylia Island check from Razor, but I missed what was there. Looks like he's going to up A. Stump is going to go check his... It looks like Lumberjack, and Raikou gets his own sword off of Uncle. Raikou off to a start with the combat, and gets a red cane. That's quite the start. And there you can see that, oh, Raikou's already got a second sword, too. Looks like we're still waiting for that red cane to go over. There is going to be no required Aghanim from Stump today. And Raikou's already on second sword. That's kind of crazy. So Raikou with his 2 swords is going to go check the his back of escape. Stump is checking his Lost Woods. Gonna pick up some bombs for himself. Raikou is picking up, or looks like Razorflame is checking his connection to make sure everything's transferring properly. But so far, Raikou currently has the most open to him by sheer virtue of having the double sword, so that makes doing certain things a little bit easier, but all three runners still have quite a few checks to do in Kakariko Village. They have the Uncle. They have Money Moldarm Cave, South Shore. It almost looked like Raikou got stuck moving to the left there. Okay, it sounds like we are getting a timer pause as there is some connection stuff that is currently being resolved. And it looks like all the players are going to be waiting until that is resolved, as because the items have to be sent to each other, it makes sense to make sure all the players are connected and fully good to go before continuing to send items back and forth across the infinite void of the internet. But yes, so far, a lot of combat on Raikou's side. Not as much on Stump or Razorflame side, but that can get fixed very quickly just by finding some more items. I think we're going to see after this escape, because Raikou had the sword, it made sense for him to go do this. I think he's going to go ahead and do Kakariko next. Kakariko's usually the first place that people go to as it's an extremely dense area, as I believe there's somewhere around 12 checks you can do with just bombs. And getting bombs in Kakariko is relatively straightforward. Other good places to check are Mini Moldarm Caves that has 5 items. The Dam has 2. And the Eastern Sahashala combo has up to 6. Now, one thing to note is that in Multiworlds, you generally want to be more thorough than you would be in a regular race setting. So there is a set of items called Sphere Zero, which requires nothing but bombs to access, and bombs are considered effectively free to get, so they don't really logically block anything. So oftentimes players will want to do all of their Sphere Zeros first, because a lot of your progression can be behind those. And because they're available so early in logic, it just makes sense to get all of your early progression, or all of your early checks done first. Because then if there's any major progression in those, okay, well, you can now take that into something else. After that, it comes down to routing efficiently. But you still want to be clearing stuff. It looks like Raikou did a reset, probably due to that connection issue. So he will have to go back down into the Hyrule Castle basement, but he may opt to do something else first instead. As he's now going to be back at either Link's house or Sanctuary, and depending on where he goes from there, that will kind of give us a tell as to where he's thinking he should go for items. Elsewise, it's really going to depend on what items they get is going to kind of guide how they route through the seed. And hopefully we won't see a whole lot of the BK mode situation. Now, BK mode is when you don't have any checks that you can do because you've either done them all or you don't have the items to get to more checks. So you're kind of just stuck waiting for items to come in from other players. And the reason it's called BK mode is there was at least one runner who actually went to Burger King while waiting for items to come in that he could do something. Usually in the smaller multi-worlds, it doesn't happen as often because there's just less items that get shuffled between players because there's less players. But if you're in like a larger multi-world, it can easily happen to where you're in BK mode for sometimes up to an hour or more based on just where your items are in the seed logic. And when it does the randomization, it does take the progression of all 3 players into account for the logic instead of just one. Now, we do not have key sanity on, so all the keys will be in the regular dungeons as expected. Raikou has now received his Cane of Samaria. So it looks like the connection is good, and it looks like they're about to get going again in just a second here. This is not unheard of for Multiworlds to have tech stuff going on, because it's trying to combine a bunch of things. Okay, here we go. The runners are back in action. Looks like Raikou is going to go back to that Hyrule Castle escape. Stump is now checking. Oh, that's a cape for Raikou. And Stump finds his hammer in Blind's Hut. It's pretty big. Stump finds a sword, so he now can comfortably do backup escape. You can do backup escape with just bombs. It's just you have to be pretty well versed in aiming the bombs. Razorflame is now checking his egg. So the fact that that ledge has nothing means that the first Aghanim fight in the Aghanim's Tower will not necessarily be required, and flippers for Stump. RaikouRider's back in the escape. He got back here pretty quick. Quake found for Razorflame. We're going to see what the bottle merchant is. Except Stump does not have enough money to get the bottle merchant. Stump's actually kind of low on money here. But he does have a bottle, so he's going to be able to check Sick Kid, and has an Ice Rod for RaikouRider. That's always fun. And gloves for Stump. This is a good start so far. Seen a lot of early progression items. Stump is actually a Moon Pearl away from Dark World access right now. And he also has full access to Zora. Raikou doesn't seem to find much in the back of Escape. Is now going to check the Sanctuary chest, and it's a hook shot for Razorflame. So this is kind of what happens early in these this is kind of how these multi-worlds go early. Is there's a lot of things that get found, and ooh, that's gloves for Raikou. He could go to Death Mountain here, and that's actually not a terrible idea if he can do the Room in the Dark. Logically, this is not available to them yet, but he is here, so if he decides to go into Death Mountain, he does have access to the entirety of Paradox Cave. Although, without having done Kakariko yet, he's probably going to opt to do Kakariko first, as that is in Sphere 0, which is what you're supposed to do first. Nothing on the library ledge for Stump. And, okay, so all three Lumberjack tree ledges are bad items. That's a mirror at the maze race. That's probably going to be required. So that means the Aghanim's Tower will not be done unless it's necessary for Dark World access. And Razorflame is already... Or Razorflame. Stump is already on Tempered Sword, I think. Yeah, Razorflame has found that sword for Stump and put Stump on Tempered. So we have two runners on Master Sword Plus, one runner without a sword yet. Operative word there being yet. But Razorflame does get that mirror, so that does enable him to go into Tower of Hera once he gets a glove and, logically, a lamp. But now we're going to see Kakariko Village from Raikou and from Razorflame, so this should be a good set of items coming through. And Magic Powder. That's a good safety to have. And a mushroom as well. So that's just a fetch quest item, but we all love our fetch quests. And Razorflame finds his own flute early. In the Kakariko well. Not a bad find at all. We don't know if his mire is required yet, but it could be. So we have Raikou now doing Blind Sight. Razorflame does not have enough money to pay the bottle vendor just yet. But is going to activate the duck. Raikou finding a bunch of money. Not all of it for him, even. But he does have enough money to pay Zora, and has logical access to King Zora himself through that glove. Razorflame has awakened the duck. And almost has enough money to pay the bottle vendor. As we see a well check from Raikou, and what looks to be a mini Moldarm cave from Stump. Now, with Tempered Sword, mini Moldarm cave should be no issue. And Flippers for Razorflame. That gives him access to Zora. Whether he wants it or not is another matter entirely. Oh, Stump takes a death. That's unfortunate. Looks like nothing on the bottle vendor for Raikou, just some rupees, so not a whole lot doing there. Stump is making his way back to Mini Moldarm Cave. Ooh, but a bottle for Stump on Razorflame's bottle vendor. That could be pretty important. I believe you've already seen Stump check the sick kid, but more bottles means more safeties. And a small shield for Stump out of the back of the Kakariko Tavern. Raikou's going to buy some bombs here. He still has enough money to go check our good old friend King Scamfish. Stump is going to finish off Mini Moldarm Cave. Raikou finds a bottle of what looks to be for himself, so he's going to go ahead and check Sick Kid. Mirror for Raikou. Another dead library ledge. There wasn't a whole lot in that Mini Moldarm Cave besides that mirror. But it looks like items are going across the runners, into the runners now, so... if Raikou chooses, he can still go to Death Mountain in the dark, and he may opt to do that at some point soon here. And that is pretty much the entire mountain, including Tower of Hera, open. Oh, there's a shovel on the library ledge. That's one of those fetch quest items that may or may not be required. Getting an Ice Rod Cave check, and the boots for Raikou on the maze race of Razorflame. And a lamp for Razorflame in the Ice Rod Cave of Stump. And an ether for Razorflame on the maze race of Raikou. Okay, that's some items. Now that shovel's accessible, Raikou's gonna go pick that up. We'll see whose it is. It's a shovel for Razorflame. Conveniently, he's right next to where he needs to be to go dig up the item, so he's gonna go dig that up. Raikou has opted to save and quit here. Probably gonna check Bonk Rocks. Maybe go to Death Mountain afterward. Looks like we have a hobo check from Stump. And Hobo has for us today bombs. Not great. And mitts for Raikou. So now Raikou just needs Moon Pearl, and he's got Dark World access. This does give him Back of Escape and King's Tomb access. Just bombs at the flute spot. We're gonna see Stump's Hylia Island as Beast of Heart. Nothing doing there. We're probably gonna see a waterfall check. Just some rupees in King's Tomb. I think now we'll see a backup escape and maybe even a Dark Cross check from Raikou, depending on where the key is. If the key is in Dark Cross, then there's like no reason to go check it. Looks like Razorflame is making his way over towards the Eastern Palace area. Remember, he does not quite have a sword yet, so it's up to him to decide how he wants to handle Blue Cane for Razorflame, though. That technically is a weapon. Did not entirely catch what was in the back of that escape on Raikou's side, but he is going to go do Dark Cross. We have Stump checking the Zora ledge. Looks like on the Zora ledge is just a heart container. Looks like he's going to go check what's on King Zora as well. Raikou's in the dark doing Dark Cross. Normally, you would require the lamp logically to be able to do this, but Raikou knows the layout of this room well enough to know where he needs to go. He was able to kill the key rat, so he has the key now. I expect we're going to see Stump go towards the back of Escape now. And a sword for Razorflame on the Uncle. Razorflame now has his first sword. None of the runners with a Moon Pearl yet. Both Stump and Raikou have Dark World access as soon as they get a Moon Pearl, but neither of them has a lamp. Razorflame has a lamp and half magic now, so he could Blue Cane strat his way through just about anything he wants. And that's actually very important if Razorflame has to fight blind, because Blue Cane blind is very easy. And Raikou's now on Tempered Sword. Man, double Tempered Sword early is just great. So, now of course, a half magic Blue Cane is as well, and I like this decision from Razorflame to go do Dark Cross first. You have the mirror so you can get back to the entrance of Hyrule Castle and go down to the basement afterwards. And he does have the lamp, so he will be able to see his way through. Raikou's now checking the floodgates, gets a Bloomerang. We see the Dark Cross play coming out. We see a backup escape play coming out. So this is kind of how the multi-worlds go early, is a lot of the runners will just end up doing a lot of the same things the other ones have done early because there's just a bunch available. And again, you want to get these Sphere Zeros done pretty quick. Just because of how early they're available in Logic. Another half magic sighting. This one is for Stump. So Raikou is now the only runner without half magic, but also is the only runner with boots. So that's going to make checking this Ice Rod Cave, presumably after Mini Moldorm, a lot smoother. One of the Sphere Zeros that often gets people is Agina's Cave, because Agina's Cave is a Sphere Zero, but it's just super far out of the way of everything and everyone. Let's see, Mini Moldorm Cave. So far, not a whole lot of value here for Raikou. Yep, just some money. Although he can access Zora, he cannot check everything that's there as he does not have the flippers, but he does have the boots. And there is a boots water walk setup that you can do to get all of the items out of the Zora area, or at least check all of them. And that may be what Raikou's going to set up here after he does Ice Rod Cave, which is the direction he's heading now. We're about to see what's in Zelda's cell for Stump, and I believe... Okay, we have 100 rupees. Razorflame is going to go back for this chest here. Just some bombs, but goes for the mirror block deletion. And a save quit out of the back of Escape. Probably going to go down via the gravestone to the very back of Escape here for Stump. It looks like Raikou, based on the fact that he is not... Ooh, takes a crab. The crabs deal 2 damage each. Watch out for those. Very deadly. We're seeing what looks to be an Agina and maybe a Desert Ledge check from... Razorflame. Raikou's gonna set up a fake flippers here. Now, I'm curious as if he'll go to Hobo first. It looks like he's going to go Hobo first. A sword for Razorflame. That puts both of our runners on Master Sword Plus. Which means, well, both. All of our runners are Master Sword Plus, which means all of our runners are eligible to kill Ganon now. Although Master Sword Silverless Ganon is not something you want to see. Nothing on the Desert Ledge for Razorflame, just a 50 rupee. Could be useful if one of the runners needs to get to Zora and they need money, but by the time you get there, the Zora may already be done. Because that Desert Ledge might not be accessible for a little bit. Raikou is going to go to Hobo. And at Hobo, we'll find a piece of heart. Now, that piece of heart is out of logic, because the game does not assume you're going to be able to do fake flippers. It assumes you're going to have the flippers to get to Hobo. We have our first Agina's Cave check, as Stump is heading over towards Eastern. And it is a Moon Pearl for RaikouRider. That gives him Dark World access. Our first runner with Dark World access. Palace of Darkness is the green pendant for Stump. And Raikou C just opened up quite a bit, although he does not have the hammer. So that is going to limit his options somewhat. There's a Quake. We see Razorflame going back to talk to Agina. Oh, just to bomb Agina. Yeah, that makes sense. Always bomb Agina. And we can see, now that the Moon Pearl's been obtained, Raikou can actually check these two spots. Because this will enable a water walk due to the world state changing. You cannot do this water walk without Moon Pearl, by the way. We see a bug net and a piece of heart for Stump. So nothing really major at Waterfall Fairy. Stump is going to be our first runner to go into Eastern. He cannot complete this dungeon right now as he does not have the bow, but it is a pendant dungeon. So if he gets all of his items in here anyway, he's probably not coming back until he sees what's on the pedestal. That's a hammer on Raikou's Zora Ledge. Flippers required for RaikouRider to pick that hammer up, and that will be a required hammer. It is either Razorflame's or his own, as Stump already has his hammer. Let's see what King Zora has for Raikou. ₹500 to buy a shield, and Raikou's gonna buy the shield. So, yeah, that's a required flippers. Apparently, the Mini Mulderm Cave, just not a whole lot of value on Razorflame's side. I have not been keeping track of how many items Stump has seen in Eastern yet. I think if you're Raikou here, I think you just go Dark World. There's too much in Dark World. Even though, yes, you have access to Death Mountain, there's just too much in Dark World available. Plus, Dark World is in logic, Death Mountain is not. We're gonna see a map check. Okay, so Turtle Rock is a pendant. Or, Turtle Rock is a crystal. Green pendant at Mire, 5-6 at Ice and Skull Woods for Raikou. And Swamp is a pendant. That can have some implications. Also, a dog exists somewhere. But, yeah, the implications of Turtle Rock Crystal are that I tried that he has will be required. The implications of Swamp Pendant mean that any items that are required to get into Swamp theoretically don't have to be available before GT. And a bow for Razorflame in his Ice Rod Cave, that actually puts the entirety of Eastern Palace in logic for Razorflame, and that may be where he heads next. And because it is a crystal for him, that is his first... Well, I'm not sure actually if he's marked his tracker. First item out of Skull Woods found. It's just a bunch of money for Stump. We may see Razorflame just go straight for Eastern here. He doesn't have any arrows currently, but there's a bunch of arrows and pots in Eastern. No, it looks like he's still going south. He's already done Ice Shroud Cave. Maybe he's gonna go to Zora here? It's a key and pinball chest for Raikou. Stump is currently making his way through Eastern in the dark. No, it looks like he's going back, so... There's a map for Raikou of Skull Woods. Raikou cannot complete this dungeon right now because he doesn't have the Fire Rod. The Fire Rod is necessary to get into the back of Skull Woods, but he's probably going to go check Canis Samaria chest. Gonna clear all the enemies for Stump to get this vanilla big key item, and it's a 20 rupee. And that's all he can do in there. Raikou going to check the big chest of Skull Woods. It's a compass. Nothing doing there. Razor checking his hobo. Gets a shovel for Stump. And now Raikou looks like he's going to go do some Aria chest. Razor's actually not in a bad spot to go just to Eastern from here, because there's a dock over down at the bottom of this cliff that he can take. Looks like Stump is headed back to Kakariko Village. Just a key there, so nothing else Raikou's going to be able to do in Skullwood, so he will get a magic refill here. Stump is back in the Kakariko area, probably going to go turn his shovel in. Waterfall Fairy for Razorflame has 10 arrows and bombs. Nothing doing there. I don't think the decision to go check Zora before Eastern is actually that bad. Especially if Eastern's not a crystal, which I don't quite remember if Eastern's a crystal or not. Just a penny at the shovel spot. Nothing doing there. Raikou's now going to check chest game, just a heart on the Zora ledge. Raikou gets his money back and then some, so that's good. And is going to go into Thieves Town. Now, there is one chest in here that Raikou cannot check, and that is the big chest, because he does not have the hammer currently. Oh, and the key is available outside of... Well, the key is available in the first 4 chests. That's not a good sign for Raikou. He really wants to... Ooh, and there's a map. So, if the compass has to be in the big chest here, elsewise, that big chest is going to be gotten probably last. Because you need the hammer for that big chest. And that's one of the gambles of doing Thieves Town without the hammer, is if there's something important there. And Razorflame's boots in Stump Sagina. And what a seed. Double Agina having good items. All that remains is Raikou's Agina. Raikou's continuing to do Thieves Town. Stump has gone back to the south portion of Hyrule, presumably to go check his Zora. And Razorflame's probably going to go check Bonk Rocks. He does not have a glove, so he can't get up to Death Mountain. We're seeing the Hellway on Raikou's side. Yeah, Stump's coming right back for Zora. That makes sense to me. Raikou's gonna go open the chest here. It's a red rupee. Bloomerang for Stump in Bonk Rocks from Razorflame. And that opens the door to blind. Razorflame, kind of thinking about his options. And a bottle for Raikou on Zora. Not a bad item, actually. Not at all. Gonna actually fly to Death Mountain. Oh, and he has both Mirror and Hookshot, so Razorflame can access the entirety of this Death Mountain. This is a much better play than that Eastern play. Because this is just way more items to check and gets him that save point. So Raikou's about to go do the first boss, which would be Blind. Now, Low Hearts Blind is kind of tough to do, because Blind does a lot of damage. Also, Red Mail on Stump's side already. That's pretty good. Stump is definitely the tankiest of the runners right now. But Razorflame is on Death Mountain. Raikou's fighting Blind with just a regular shield. And we see a Death Mountain check from Stump. Now, bear in mind, Stump does have the hammer, so he can go past Terra if he gets a mirror, but this is out of the logic for Stump right now. Logically, Glove and Lamp or Flute are required for Death Mountain access, and beautiful fight on Blind from Raikou. That's going to be a dead Blind. That's going to be a Compass, and that's going to be an item in the big chest. The question will be, when does he get the hammer to go back for that? And where is his hammer? Is it that one that we saw on the Zora ledge, or is it somewhere else that's completely unknown as of yet? Is that Gold Sword? That's Gold Sword. RaikouRider's on Gold Sword. 30 minutes in, less than 30 minutes into the run, we have a runner on Gold Sword. Like, okay. Boss combat's not going to be an issue for Raikou at this point. He just needs to get his items. Raikou's gonna go digging game. Razorflame is going to leave Paradox Cave. I did not catch what was on top of or inside of Spectacular Rock for Stump. Just a piece of heart on digging game. No good there. And I think it looks to me like Razorflame's trying to remember which way he needs to go to get back up to the top of Death Mountain. It's the cave. He actually needs to go down back to where he came into Paradox Cave from. Looks like Stump is going back towards the back of Escape. Raikou's doing the Breadsmith chain. Oh no, wait. Is this an Aga 1 play? Are we seeing a Super Dark Aga 1? Oh my goodness, we're seeing a Super Dark Aga 1 out of Stump. And a cape for Raikou on the Breadsmiths. That's actually not bad. Because with a hammer, that puts Spike Cave in logic. Also, it's a cape. And that's very helpful in GT. Yeah, we're going to see a Super Dark Aga from Stump. Ooh, and using the mirror to get into the Magic Bat. You know, I like this. I like this play from Raikou. Stump is going to opt not to do Super Dark Aga. I don't blame him in that. Checking the back of Sahasrahla for Razorflame. Swamp is the green pendant for Razorflame. That is always all sorts of fun. Looks like Eastern Palace is one of the 5-6, so I expect Razorflame will go ahead and clear that now. Looks like we're going to see an Agena check from Stump as Raikou is now making his way over towards the eastern area. Looks like Raikou does not have a bow, so he won't be able to complete Eastern, and it is a crystal for him, so he will need to do it at some point. But he may be able to just route it in with Palace of Darkness. Raikou does not need to talk to Sahasrahla. Razorflame's book has been found. And Stump's Fire Rod. So that does not open up logical access to Aghanim because it's considered a hard require lamp, but technically you can light torches to do everything that's there, and I don't think Stump has checked Agena. He probably doesn't want to save quit here. Checking Agena would be good. Nope, he saves quits. Maybe he did check Agena and I missed it. It's very possible. Raikou and Razor are both going to be in Eastern. Razorflame does not actually have access to all of Desert right now. He will need a glove. Or rather, they will need a glove in order to get in. We might see a Fire Rod Aga 1 out of Stump here. Piece of Heart and the Cannonball chest for Raikou. I did not quite catch what was on Razorflame's side. Looks like we're seeing a Dark Cross out of Stump first. Hookshot chest for Raikou's just bombs. The big key for Razorflame. So the other two runners getting their Moon Pearls is going to be pretty good here. It'll open up a lot of the seed for them, because both of them... Well, actually, no. Razorflame does not have Dark World access right now. Minus Moon Pearl. Stump does through Hammer and Glove. That's a mirror for Stump. That's not bad, actually, because that gets him all of Dark World. That gets him all of Death Mountain. And the reason that gets him all of Death Mountain is he's already broken his way up there. So he can use that mirror to get to the Hera area and then use the hammer to go over to the other side. Now, logically, Raikou is done with Eastern because he did not get the big key out of the first 3 chests, and this requires the lamp via logic to do. Razorflame, on the other hand, is going to be able to do the whole dungeon in one fell swoop because he has the lamp coming in. So all of this is in logic for him. Looks like Stump is now back on Death Mountain, going to use that mirror to go to Hera. We'll see if he digs Hera here. Hera is usually pretty quick, even though it's a pendant, so oftentimes runners will just opt to dig Hera anyway. The big key there for Raikou. Interesting that he didn't go back for the big chest immediately. Now, granted, there's a logic behind it that says that you just go back and get the big chest when the time comes. Okay, we get a check from Stump's side. So the other 5-6 is an Ice Palace. Meyer is the blue pendant. And elsewise, pretty normal setup. Raikou, I believe he's going to go turn his... Yeah, he's going to turn the Mushroom in here. That makes a lot of sense. Stump is going to mirror such that he can pick up this item. It is a heart piece for Razorflame. We have a Mushroom turn in, and Stump gets a red cane. No, not Stump. Razorflame gets his own red cane in Eastern. That's pretty good. Raikou's Mushroom has a heart container. And there's a key in the basement of Hera. This could mean that Hera basement is required. Thankfully, Stump does have the Fire Rod at this point to do that. Gonna use the boomerang to hit the crystal switch. The red boomerang can be found near a bat-like man in RaikouRider's world. So that is the red boomerang for Stump on a bat-like man for Raikou, so probably not going to be checked, because it's a red boomerang. And it looks like the basement is required in Hera. Stump saying, you know what, it's not worth it. Hera's a pendant dungeon, so... Stump saying, oh, wait, no, he's having second thoughts. Because that is a lot of time to spend doing the basement. It's about a minute to a minute and a half. But it looks like he is going to go do it. And this is the kind of thing that, where Multiworld becomes different from races, is Multiworlds you generally want to be more thorough. Because you're not just looking for your progression, you're looking for 3 players' progression. So, if, say, somebody else's progression is in that basement and you say, I'm going to gamble on it, well, that doesn't do you any good. Now, what you're seeing here is A Link to the Past does not like when you do multiple things at the same time. So Stump is grabbing a wall with the magic cape on, and the game just doesn't drain your magic because of it. And this allows him to kind of just safely do this room without needing to do any of the crystal switch shenanigans that you usually see. Razorflame is now in the final room before the Arbos, picking up all the pots before killing the Igors. Gonna kill one Igor. He's just got to kill this last one to get in. All right, and Razorflame is going into the Arbos Knights fight. So the Arbos Knights are going to require 3 arrows apiece to kill off. It's one Arbos down. Razorflame, he doesn't have a whole lot of shots he can miss here. Now, granted, you can hit Arbos Knights with other weapons. Boomerangs will hit Arbos Knights. Swords will hit Arbos Knights. Oh, misses the quick kill, but does get the Arbos Knight down and only gets a map for his efforts. But he does get a crystal. And that is one of the 5/6. Very important. RaikouRider's finishing off the purple chest. We'll see where the runners go from here. I think this is fine, even though yes, in the strict sense. Ooh. Well, remember that part where I said that Hera can be important? That's Hera being important. That is a flute for RaikouRider. That will allow him to access the Mire area. Oh, and Stump goes for the bomb jump, but instead it's just going to fall down 2 floors. Raikou does not have the book, so he can't check the Bombos tablet, but he is going to head towards the desert area. I think we're going to see him do a Desert Legend Agina, maybe just Agina, and then go get his flute activated. He does have access to the Mire Shed area, actually, given that he has mitts and, he has mitts and he has, Pearl. Let's see what the third Agina is. The first 2 were good. The third Agina is Blueberry. Stump is checking Spectacular Rock. It's just a red rupee. No real benefit there. Bomb's on top of the mountain, but he can access the Tower of Hera. Or rather, they can't access the Tower of Hera. Raikou is now running off of the desert, going back to Dark World, probably to check Hype Cave. Gets a piece of heart from that Tower of Hera, and that's all the items in Hera. Moldworm is just going to have some dungeon item. And with that book, Razorflame is going to check the Ether Tablet. What's it have for us today? Razor's Ether has a glove for himself. That is significant. That actually allows Razorflame to do the entirety of Desert. Yeah, all Light World dungeons are accessible to Razorflame at this point. Raikou finds a green rupee. Moldworm dies on Stump's side. Mitts for Stump. On Death Mountain, but no Moon Pearl. So the only thing he can do here is an out of logic Super Bunny Cave check. Does not have access to Spike Cave either. The blue cane can be found near Fairy and Stump's world. Well, Razorflame already has a blue cane, so that's not going to do them any good. And a map found. That's a double required Hera basement. Let's go. Double required Hera basement height. Do we get the triple? Can we get the triple required pendant Hera with required basements? Can we get the perfect seed? Ooh, some clever usage there of the bow, but unfortunately it's just off of being able to get the, Ujima wants it. The, glitch where you're constantly in iframe, so... Razorflame's gonna have to just do this room the normal way. Raikou's activated his flute. Let's see what he goes to first, and yep, he's going straight to the Mire area. He can actually do all of Mire right now to get that green pendant if he wants to do the Room of the Dark. Logically, he cannot go to Vitreous, but he can get into Mire, unless it's Ether, which, it was Ether, so he can't get into Mire. But it is the green pendant. And what do we have here for RaikouRider? Also, Stump is now in Dark World. I missed where his Moon Pearl was. And Raikou finds his flippers! I wonder if Raikou just does Desert here. He has everything he needs to beat it. Yeah, he can do Desert here. That's actually not a terrible idea. Especially if he's not planning on coming back for, Mire for a little bit because it's a, pendant. And Razorflame, they are out of bows. They are out of bows. They are out of arrows. I think you actually have to go back downstairs and hit the crystal switch there. Raikou's immediately going to go pick that hammer up. Stump is in Skull Woods. Give me one quick second here. Looks like Stump's Pearl was in Raikou's Cave 45. Raikou's gonna go pick up this hammer. We'll see whose it is. It's a 50-50 on it being his own, 50-50 on it being Razorflame's. Neither runner would be upset to have it, as both are going to require it eventually. It would open up Razorflame's access to Dark World, but Raikou finds his own hammer on the Zora ledge. That opens up a lot of the seed for him, but what will he do with it? What does he do with it? Looks like the answer is Death Mountain. Oh, right. Raikou hasn't been up here yet, so he needs to do the old man still. And a sword for Stump. That is his gold sword. So any more swords we find are going to be Razorflame swords. Oh no! Stump gets wall mastered. A fate worse than death. It's a bunch of magic for his efforts, though. Looks like we're going to see a Hera clear from Razorflame. Not a terrible idea. They don't know if it's required or not, and for all intents and purposes... Oh, wait. Oh, no. Stump gets the statue just too far over to where he can't actually put the statue on the switch. And this room has been super trolly for Stump. Moldarm inbound for a Razorflame. Let's see what he does. He's gonna go for spins here. That makes sense. One hit will kill Razorflame at this point. He has to watch out for that. Ooh, but gets a good spin there. He just needs to... Oh no, he takes the death! No, now he's gotta climb the tower again. Stump got buddy beamed, and Raikou has found the inside of Spectacular Rock to be nothing. Stump might actually go ahead and just finish off Skull Woods here. Now, if you're playing this game vanilla, the gold sword does not work on Mothula. That has been changed in the randomizer to where regular slashes with the gold sword will work, spin attacks will not. Razorflame making their way back up. Yeah, I think Stump is just going for a moth kill here. Raikou's now doing his. Hera does not have to do the basement. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe the second item's in the basement. Who knows? Probably not the second item's in the basement, and if it is, then, well, that's reason to go do the basement of Hera. Mothula fight for Stump. So, the thing with Mothula is if you hit Mothula into the spikes, the spike damage overrides your damage, and then you don't deal any damage to Mothula, because Mothula's immune to spikes. And because spikes are class 4 damage, that's why Mothula's immune to the gold sword and vanilla, because they deal the same amount of damage. And Mothula's just immune to the whole damage class. That's a heart. Oh! That's going to be a key on... That's going to be a key on Moldorm to give you a map, so Raikou will not have to do the basement of Hera. Anyway, there's a crystal for Stump out of Skull Woods. And we have Razorflame going back for another round with Moldorm. Raikou's going to go ahead and kill Moldorm also. So all three runners will have a Moldorm kill, which again, we don't know if the ped's required or yet not, because nobody's checked it, and the only person that can check it is Razorflame anyway. Raikou's going to take down Moldorm with 2 Butter Sword hits. The Gold Sword is known as the Butter Sword because it looks like a stick of butter. Down goes Moth, and your reward is Compass. And by Moth, I mean Moldorm. Raikou's now going to do his right side of Death Mountain, as Stump is doing their Village of Outcasts. And without a hammer, that's all Razorflame can do on this side of Death Mountain. But he's already, or they've already done right side, so they don't necessarily need to go back. What does Razorflame have in Logic right now? That's... Oh, yes, Stump has a flute. I'm trying to think of what all the runners do have in Logic available for them to do. As Stump activates their flute, Raikou does his Death Mountain, and Razorflame heads to wherever they head to next. Well, Razorflame does have a glove now, so that opens up a couple of things. Razorflame, maybe not as familiar with the Scrape. You gotta push it, not pull it. But he'll probably get some info from his teammates pretty soon here, as they are communicating with each other, given that they kind of need to. And that's a Moon Pearl for Razorflame, so they are set. They are good to go. Razorflame just needs to push the Gravestone. Waiting for that Moon Pearl to transfer over. Unless it's already been seen and I just missed the cutscene. Red Shield for Raikou. But also has not a ton in Paradox. I think we're going to see RaikouRider do Direct Death Mountain here. I've not seen the cutscene for Razorflame to get their Moon Pearl yet. But they do have it. Let's see. Yeah, you gotta push the grave, you can't pull it. Raikou's now climbing up. Probably just gonna open the Turtle Rock portal. Maybe even open the front door to Turtle Rock while he's here. Looks like Razorflame is going to... Well, it looks like he wants to stick around. Maybe he's getting some, advice from the teammates, or he's gonna hop out. Oh! The double whammy! The one medallion Raikou doesn't have is needed for both. What sort of silliness? Raikou's gonna go do Super Bunny. And Stump does have a hammer, so they'll be able to get this chest, the big chest if they need it, on the first go round. Piece of heart and bombs and Super Bunny Cave. Nothing really good doing there. Raikou's gonna go check Hookshot Cave. Stump is gonna go finish off there. Thieves Town. It looks like Razorflame is gonna go for Desert here. This isn't actually a terrible idea, because he doesn't have Dark World access. So the best things for him to do are either that backup escape or just this Desert play. And he does have access to all of Desert, given he has a fire source, or rather they have access to all of Desert because they have a fire source. And they have a book to get in. Raikou's gonna go check the floating island. So we're seeing some dungeon completion from all the runners except Raikou, who's currently just doing some overworld exploration, but that makes sense. He does not have... I don't think he has any dungeons he can complete at this point, actually. Maybe Desert, because he can get in the back way, but he doesn't have a fire source. Actually, the only dungeon Raikou can complete right now is Ice. Given he has Bombo's hammer and Hookshot, logically he can fully complete Ice at this point. And that may be where he ends up going next, is over to Ice. On the torch is the small key, so boots are required for this desert. Just a compass. Bombos can be found in a cave with 7 chests in Stump's world. That would be Stump's paradox. Raikou finds just a piece of heart in Spheric Cave. Speaking of hearts, there's a heart container in the map chest of Desert. That is the first one for... That is the first item, I believe. And Stump is now going to do their blind fight, but with Gold Sword, 8 hearts, and Red Mail, this fight should not be that difficult for Stump. Now, granted, it's still easy to die on blind, because he does deal a decent amount of damage, even with the mails. And there's a lot that you gotta dodge. Raikou's heading back to Dark World here. Just a piece of heart on blind. Crystal pickup. So all the runners have at least 1 crystal. Stump has 2. Bumper ledge for Raikou is not important. One sec, folks. So Razorflame's gonna go ahead, finish off their desert. He's got to remember which of these pots has the key under it. I believe in this room it's the lower left pot. And Stump gets a bow. That actually, I believe, allows him to fully complete Eastern and Pod, both of which are pendants. But bow is required for GT, so... no matter what, that bow is going to be required. Let me see Stump do their hammer cave. Or their hammer pegs. So now that we have a sense of what the runners need, we can kind of take a look at their crystal layout and see what they still need. Logically, Stump still needs a lamp. Is going to still need a hook shot. And I believe that's actually it. Hookshot and lamp is all that's strictly required for Stump at this point. For Raikou, still going to need a lamp, still going to need a fire rod, still needs a bow, still needs ether. But that's really all he needs. For Razorflame, not knowing exactly what their last pendant is, most likely they're still going to need the hammer. But that theoretically is all that they need at this point. Just hammer and mitts, actually. Because, if their Turtle Rock is the last pendant, they don't need the Ice Rod. And if none of the Fetch Quest items lead to anything, once they get Dark World access, they can fully complete Pod. They can fully complete Swamp. Skull Woods is open. Thieves Town is open. As weird as it is, Razorflame is actually probably the closest to Go mode here. Raikou's going back for his big chest in Thieves Town. Remember, he had to abandon this earlier because he did not have the hammer when he came in here initially. That's a bottle for Razorflame. And that does unlock the Sick Kid check. So that's an important bottle to get. Oh, and also, Stump may need boots. And the book for Raikou in the big chest of Thieves Town. And the book for Raikou. That's Desert Well, he had Desert Access anyway. He just doesn't have a fire source. But yeah, the book. And that's going to be a glove for Razorflame. Most notably, that is Dark World access for Razorflame. So now all three of our runners have access to Dark World. And Razorflame Seed kind of just went wide open. Because most of Dark World is accessible to them. Again, they don't have a hammer yet. So there are certain things they still can't do, but the fact that they can get into Dark World is quite good. Are we going to see a potential... No, I don't think we're going to see a swamp yet from Stump. It's too early for that. It looks like Raikou's immediately going to go check the Bombos tablet. I wonder if... Ooh, I like this. A pet check from Razorflame. Gonna see if he needs to get that pedestal item. Nope, it's just couch cash. Bombos tablet has... 50 bucks. I wonder if Raikou goes to check the Ether tablet now. I actually think a swamp play here might be what's on his mind, because swamp is right here. It is 6 items. Yeah, I think swamp is going to be the play here. Which, even though it is a pendant, it's fully completable. There's nothing stopping Raikou from doing this. And again, it's 6 items. This is actually a pretty good idea. So we're seeing our first of 2 pendant swamps. That chest will always contain a key unless you're playing Key Sanity. If you're playing Key Sanity, that doesn't have to contain a key, but If you're not playing Key Sanity, then, well, it can contain whatever. And pushing the gravestone, Razorflame is able to go down to the bottom of escape. Hammer dash from Raikou. I did not see what was in that first chest. Back of escape for... Oh! Stump's lamp in the back of Razorflame's escape. That puts a couple of things that Stump has already done into logic, but does not open up anything new for him right now. Or rather, doesn't open up anything new for them right now. Raikou's going to continue in Swamp. The mirror, I think, will just put Razorflame... Yeah, it puts Razorflame right back in the room. There's nothing really for them to do there. Next! Looks like we have Stump on East Death Mountain. Razorflame going back for their King's Tomb. Gets the bonk. And that's a shield for Razorflame. I believe that's their first shield. King's Tomb contains a piece of heart. Nothing really major going there. As Paradox Cave is now being checked by Stump. There's a Bombos. So yeah, at this point, it looks like just Hammer is all that Razorflame is going to need to be in go mode. Due to having the lamp and the fire rod. Again, for Raikou, it's going to be bow, fire rod, lamp, ether. And for Stump, it's going to be hookshot, red cane, maybe medallion, maybe boots. So this is kind of the mid-game portion of the seed where everyone's kind of just doing their thing, looking for items, because there's enough access now that the runners have a couple of different good options. RaikouRider is trying to do the diver down. I believe he's already flooded the key, so he has no choice but to do this. Diver down is, to me, a weird trick. I don't actually like it. And the reason I don't like diver down is I just don't know if it actually saves you as much time as it's made out to save you. In this case, yes, it makes sense to do because you have to do the whole go bottom, go top, go bottom. And it does save a good bit of time. But, I'm weird. I also don't like Icebreaker, but I do it because it just makes Ice Palace, man. It makes Ice Palace much smoother. Even if I don't have to like the trick to use it. Icebreaker is where you use the Cane of Samari to cheat Ice Palace, and we might see that from one of the runners when they get to Ice. So what does left side Swamp have? Well, it starts with a compass. And then it has some arrows. Not great. If you're a runner looking to complete the game, that's not what you want to see. So now there's just the back of Swamp, and my guess is that Raikou's probably going to go ahead and just finish off Swamp. And nothing, not to open Turtle Rock yet. Well, it is Ether, and Stump doesn't have Ether. Let's see what Mire is. Can Stump get into Mire? Looks like we have a Spiral Cave for Razorflame. Raikou setting up another diver down. This one goes a lot smoother. And there, yes, I can definitely see where the time save is. But again, I don't have to like a trick to recognize that it's a good trick. I'm also slightly salty that I can't do it well. Razorflame is on Tempered Sword. That's what you want to see. You want to see the runners getting their swords so that they can go and do all the combat. And Bombos for Meyer, so Stump is actually going to need all the medallions. Although Bombos is not bad to have for Ice Palace because it's cheaper to Awaken Cold Stare with that than it is to Awaken Cold Stare with traditional methods of Fire Rod. And a Red Cane, that is going to be Stump's own Red Cane, actually. That Red Cane still technically doesn't put all of Ice in Logic, because I believe the Logic for Ice requires Hookshot, but with Red Cane, Ice is very much an option. And really, it's an option for all three runners. Like, all three runners have access to Ice. There's just better places to go, because Ice is only like 3 items. Raikou gonna finish off a giant jellyfish, surrounded by cheese puffs, and get a shovel. The single arrow for Razorflame. The single arrow is the best item in the game because it actually exists in vanilla and is not just a rando introduced item. It's in the Palace of Darkness basement in vanilla if you want to get that single arrow in your next playthrough. Alright, so Razorflame is doing their top of Death Mountain. Now, interestingly, Razorflame can't get into the Turtle Rock entrance because of a lack of hammer, but once Razorflame gets their hammer, they can actually beat Turtle Rock. Again, Razorflame is pretty much a hammer away from just go. And by picking that up, they are going to have to reset the cave. Raikou's the first runner to go into ice. Let's see if we get a check. Let's see if Raikou does Icebreaker here. I imagine he will, because Icebreaker just makes the overall experience a little bit smoother. Stump is doing some stuff post desert. I don't believe he went to go fight the land molas. That's kind of an interesting choice, unless he was boots blocked and I just didn't see it. That's very possible. It's very possible that I just didn't see that he was boots blocked. I like the use of Bombos here. Like, that's probably the biggest thing about Bombos is a screen nuke. So having that available is pretty good. We're going to get a fake powder, actually, from Stump. So logically, this item is not accessible, because the game assumes you have the actual powder, and we're going to see an Icebreaker here. So the way it works is you need to be fully up against the wall. You need to move back by a single, you need to tap back 1 frame, then hold down and right, use the cane, and you have to use the cane on the exact same frame that you let go of the D-pad. Once you've done that, you then tap left for a frame, and then press, I believe it's down, and you'll go through the wall. If that sounds complicated, that's because it is. The 1 frame taps are necessary, but it's often been said that a Z1 runner will be able to do them a little bit more smoothly, and that's because the 1 frame taps are something that are done in other games. So if you play a game that has those 1 frame taps, it's really learning the movement for Icebreaker more than the tap at that point. Nothing on the mushroom for Stump, but he is going to buy a potion, it looks. Or rather, they're going to buy a potion. I don't think they're going to get rid of the good bead. They're just going to get rid of the regular bead. Back to Kakariko portal for Razorflame. Going back to Dark World. Double B. Double the B, double the hype. Ten arrows found in Ice Palace. And you can see here, because you did that Icebreaker, or because Raikou did the Icebreaker, we're finally seeing... Okay, Razorflame's map. Razorflame's map. So, Green Pendant Swap, as we knew. Pendant Thieves Town, and the other 5-6 is Meyer. Okay, that's a dungeon layout. So, we now can confirm that the only thing that Razorflame is going to need to hit go mode is hammer. Raikou's actually probably the farthest right now, because he's going to need fire rod, bow. Logically, he's going to need lamp. And ether medallion. Although Stump needs 4 items as well, and potentially 5. No, Stump can get in the desert. They don't need the bow. So yeah, Razorflame is the closest to go mode right now, but Razorflame's missing item for go mode is hammer, so a lot of their seed is going to open up. Basically, Razorflame's getting 2 waves of a seed opening. The first one was that glove to get into the Dark World. The second one will be when they get their hammer. And now we have Stump in ice. We'll see if Stump also decides to do the Icebreaker. Cane of Samaria is a very good item to have for Ice Palace. In fact, Icebreaker is strong enough that it's not actually allowed in the vanilla any % no major glitches category. It's a very strong glitch, because, again, it allows you to skip a lot of this Ice Palace and makes it where you don't have to do the bomb jump. Alright, Cold Stare fight. So, Cold Stare fight, you want to get Cold Stare in the corner, and you want to keep Cold Stare in the corner. Because Cold Stare's movement is based on, like, I don't actually know what their movement's based on, but Cold Stare's movement is very prone to knockback, so if you can just knock Cold Stare into a corner constantly, you're good. It looks like Stump is trying to get an Icebreaker, I believe. Nope, that was 1 frame too long. Stump is trying to pause buffer here, which I like. Yeah, that's the correct... Okay, so that's good, that's good. He just needs to do 1 frame... I think he's got it. No. Oh, wait. Oh, wait, what? Oh, stopped it midway through. They didn't think they had it. To be fair, I didn't think they had it either. And Raikou is now doing... no, not going to pod just yet. Gonna buy some potions before going to pod. Okay, so my guess is Raikou's going to do something known as the potion glitch. What the potion glitch does is it allows you to skip the first mimic room of pod and get to those 2 items on the right side by basically doing a camera desync. And I'll explain it more when we get there to the room itself. But basically, you're desyncing the camera to make the game think that you've cleared enemies in a room that you haven't actually cleared them in, to be able to go through a shuttered door so you can get to 2 chests in pod. It's generally helpful if you don't have a bow, and it's extremely helpful if you don't get a key in the first chest. I expect Raikou will do it anyway, regardless of if he gets a key in the first chest, because after talking with him, he tends to prefer to do right side pod immediately, so that you don't run the risk of not having keys for when you go start to do the center. Now remember, Raikou cannot complete this dungeon yet, so bear in mind where some of the keys are, because the key logic of pod is kind of weird. It's not as weird as Ice Palace, where I still don't understand what the Ice Palace key logic is. But it's weird enough that if you pay attention closely, you'll be able to get a sense of what is and isn't in logic, unless the first chest is not a key, in which case none of it's in logic. But seeing the key layout is going to be very important, and that is an ether for Stump. That is going to open up Turtle Rock, which he can fully complete. Or rather, which they can fully complete. That's not bad. Turtle Rock is 5 items, so Turtle Rock may actually be the best case scenario here. Okay, so some of pod is in logic for Raikou. Now you're going to see him go to right side here and go do that potion glitch. Pay attention to how many keys he gets. Because if he gets 2 keys on this side, that's going to really tell the tale of how much of what is in logic here. Going to use the Ice Rod to drain his magic a little bit. I almost think if you're Stump, you just go straight to Turtle Rock here. You either go straight to Turtle Rock or Pod. Both of them have the same number of items. Pod technically has more items from Green Pendant. But Pod is also a pendant dungeon, whereas Turtle Rock you're going to have to do at some point anyway. Okay, so the way you do this is you need to be up against the wall. As you're approaching the second torch, you need a potion. Then you need to let the game push you up when you get to that turn. When you do, you force the red mimic off screen, kill the green mimics, and then you can go through. You can also kill the green mimics beforehand. Both work. But that is how you get into the right side of Pod without a bow. And if you're using a map tracker, more often than not, you're going to have to manually give yourself bow to check these two off. Okay, so the big chest will not be in logic. And a second small key. Okay, so now we start getting into the key logic issue of Pod. The game is expecting Raikou to have one key and to have used it on the front door. The game is expecting Raikou to have used the pod small that he got from the shooter room on the front door. So he should only have one key right now. Raikou should only have one pod key right now, according to the game's logic. Which means, according to the logic, this is the worst possible place to use your one key because you only get one check out of it. So, believe the game will assume that you either use your key here or use it on Harmless Hellway, as they're both 1 for 1. So at this point in the game's logic, the game says, okay, you cannot go any further in Pod. Unless there's a key here in Stalfo's basement, there could be. If there is, then the Pod logic continues. Okay, Pod logic continues. Again, the game once again is going to assume that Raikou is only on one key because it assumes you use your keys in the worst way possible. And that is one of the ways that will manifest itself, is saying, okay, right now Raikou should only have one pod small. He did open the front door, so that clears that key logic up, so he's plus one small key right now from where the logic thinks he's at. And again, I'm bringing all this up to see what is and is not going to be considered part of the logic here. So right now, Raikou should be at 0 small keys. The game will have assumed that Raikou used all of his small keys already. Stump is heading over towards Dark World. Okay, another small key. The game will assume Raikou immediately turns down and uses it on Harmless Hellway. Another small key, so that opens up Dark Maze logically. And I believe that actually opens up everything Raikou has done now, logically, with the exception of the one small key on the right side, which will not matter, because that one you would get going towards the boss, and the big chest. So that's logical. Yeah, I believe... Oh, Stump tried to dash with the big bomb. Not gonna work. Although Stump will be our first run of Detect Pyramid Fairy. Pod tends to be very front-loaded on small keys, and that's why doing that potion glitch to get to right side Pod is so important. But so far, Pod has not had a whole lot of value for Raikou. We're gonna see a big bomb check from there. On Stump's side, Razorflame looks like they're trying to get a sense of, okay, here's what do I have, where can I go, what should I go to? Looks like Razorflame's going to go ahead and do Hype Cave. And that compass is out of logic, but I believe that actually forces an item to be on Helmasaur King. So Raikou will not be able to get everything out of this pod in one fell swoop, which is unfortunate. Pyramid Fairy has nothing of value. A lot of consumables for Razorflame, but nothing like game opening. We're gonna see a Pyramid Ledge check. Raikou may soon do the same. Just a piece of heart. And where do they go from here? Looks like Stump is now heading towards his pod. So this is kind of interesting, right? Stump has full access to Turtle Rock. Stump can do everything in Turtle Rock. There's nothing stopping them from doing the whole dungeon. Except... it's all the way up on Death Mountain, and they've already cleared Death Mountain. they have no reason right now to go up. They've had no reason to this point to go up and just do Turtle Rock when there's other things that are available and more checks that can be more efficiently routed. And that's going to lead into Pod, where it's more efficient to go ahead and do Pod while you're doing other stuff than it is to make a detour to go to Turtle Rock when you have to climb Death Mountain to get the Ganon's Tower anyway. You kind of want to put that off for the end. So, Raikou's checking his catfish. Stump is checking their pod. Razorflame looks like he's still... Or they're still just trying to get a sense of, okay, what's still open to me? Where can I go? What can I do? I'm not sure if Razorflame is using a map tracker. But map trackers generally are very helpful in determining where you can and can't go. They may actually be looking to do Magic Bat. Because they do have access to Magic Bat via portals, so that could be an option. So Raikou's gonna go turn in his shuffle check for something. And the vanilla big key for Pod, for Stump, Raikou is now back over by the Desert Palace because he can now complete it because there was a lamp at the digging spot. So now Raikou has access to Landmola, which will allow him to fully complete this dungeon and get another crystal on his belt. Having that fire source also will allow... That lamp actually does open up Aga 1, but at this point, none of the runners are going to need to do Aga 1. All the Lumberjack trees are dead, and they all have full Dark World access. Well, near full Dark World access. Raikou's still on the hunt for a bow, though. You don't need silvers to beat Ganon, but it is very helpful. But you absolutely need a bow to get through the Mimic Rooms. They cannot be camera glitched out like the one in Pod can. So everything in this pod is in logic for Stump. Because they have bow, they have hammer, there's nothing logically that says they can't just do all the checks in this dungeon and do everything. What's interesting, though, is the only dungeon that Razorflame can complete right now is actually Skull Woods. Razorflame does have the ability to do all of Skull Woods at this point, as there's nothing logically stopping them from doing so. They have Sword, they have Fire Rod, they have... Now, whether they're comfortable doing it now or not is another matter entirely. I don't know what Razorflame's comfort level is, and they might say, you know what, I want to have maybe some extra bottles, maybe a gold sword. Maybe they've already done it and just haven't updated the tracker. That's very possible. I have not been paying super close attention to all three runners because I'm trying to bounce back and forth between them all. I haven't seen anything big come out of this pod for Stump yet. Catfish check for Razorflame. That's a bow. That's a bow for Raikou. Pod, all the stuff that Raikou did in Pod is now in Logic, and Pod's now fully completable, as is Eastern. That's actually going to solve a lot of issues. Because Because at this point, now Raikou just needs Fire Rod and Ether to complete the game. And Stump is heading towards the big chest of Pod. Raikou gets their crystal. And that was a hammer. That was a hammer in the big chest of Pod. I believe they put Stump in Go mode, actually. That's everything Stump needs to... Or Stump. Razorflame. That's everything Razorflame needs to complete the seed. They can, if they so choose, just go do everything. The only checks they can't do, actually, at this point, is the Mushroom. Also, they have access to every single check in the game right now. So... Razorflame's actually in good shape here. They just need to go do their crystal dungeons. That's all they need to do here. Well, that's not all they need to do, but they have the ability to get into Ganon's tower now, in so much as they can complete all the dungeons. So it's kind of nice. Looks like they're gonna go check the pyramid ledge. My guess is that Razorflame is gonna end up kind of just dungeon rushing me near the end here, because they're doing a lot of their overall checks first, which makes sense. It really does make sense to do this first, because I mean, there's no real other convenient time to go check the pyramid ledge. Raikou's gonna go ahead and finish off Pod. I like this choice. He's already done most of the dungeon anyway. Stump is finishing off Pod as well. And this can actually be kind of be a tough situation to be in, is when you have everything available, where do you go? When you have everything available to you, where do you go? And it looks to me like the mire area is where Razorflame wants to go first. I wonder if they're thinking along the lines of, okay, we have access to 5-6, let's go get the 5-6. There's Bombos to get in. Almosaur fight for our Stump. Bombos for Stump. They just need Hookshot and Boots now. Everyone's kind of getting to their final items they need to do all the stuff and things. Razorflame accidentally puts the portal in the wrong spot, but we've all done that. And that's a green pendant for Stump and a Fire Rod on Helmasaur for Raikou. That puts Raikou at items -1 for Go, and that's a red mail for Razorflame. Honestly, all of the runners have a very good amount of health, good amount of armor, good amount of safeties from the bottles. Yeah, this is kind of nice. And Razor gets silver arrows. So Razorflame with silver arrows, armed to the teeth, is ready to just start tearing the seed up. Raikou's now in Eastern Palace. Gonna go ahead and finish that off. And it looks like Razorflame is going to go ahead and do that mire. That makes sense. It is a 5-6, so why not get it done now, especially if you know you have to do it. It opens up 2 more checks on top of the items that are in the dungeon itself. Spring Baller behind Ridley. So there's two ways to get across this gap. You can either hookshot it, or you can bonk across it. I believe hookshotting it is the original intended way to do it, but don't quote me on that. So I think what we're seeing now is the Turtle Rock. We might actually now be seeing the Turtle Rock play from Stump. Raiko gonna finish off this Eastern. Razorflame doing Mire. And this is kind of the weird spot. This is kind of the weird spot of the seed where everybody's kind of down to like one item left that they need. And once you get down to this point, it really just does become, okay, do as much as you can as fast as you can do it. I think prioritizing crystal dungeons here is definitely the correct idea. Oh, Raiko misses the quick kill. And we're gonna see Stump go into Turtle Rock. Has everything, they have everything they need to complete the dungeon. And I like the blue cane here. Raiko's likely gonna go to Skull Woods at this point and finish that off, because that is the last crystal dungeon that they can access. Actually, that's the last dungeon that they can access in general, because both Mire and Turtle Rock are blocked by that ether. There is a chance that we're going to see RaikouRider go into BK mode here relatively soon, depending on how many overworld checks he has left. Razorflame is back at the beginning of Mire. Stump is now in Turtle Rock. Let's see what they find in there. And again, folks, at this point, it stands at Raikou needs Ether, Stump needs Boots and Hookshot. Oh, Stump forgot they don't have Hookshot. They gotta go around. And Razorflame has all the items they need to go into Ganon's Tower and complete the game at this point. However, just because you have all the items you need to complete the game does not mean that you are done searching. As there's a saying that until everybody's go mode, nobody's go mode. Stump is going through the Turtle Rock loop again. Razorflame is doing the Mire stuff. Stump accidentally walks back onto the thing. Hello, CJ. Stump's going to go ahead and reset the puzzle and reset the door and all that. Raikou in the Mothula fight. Going pretty smoothly. Very quick fight. Razorflame getting the torches through the blocks. Oh, but misses that one. Thankfully, he can just go around and get it this way. He's going to use the lamp. They're going to use the lamp to save some magic. And Stump is once again doing the loop around. Raikou is done with Skull Woods. That is all the dungeons that he has access to at this point. Ether blocks the remaining dungeons. Gonna go check the ped. See if this is a ped seed or not. The answer is delicious blue goop. Well, that's not required, as all of the runners have bottles, but might be nice to have, depending on how many bottles you like to have. But I don't quite think it's going to be worth doing Mire at this point. Again, depending on where the ether is. If the ether comes in before Stump gets their hookshot and boots, then, okay, well, maybe you end up going to Mire anyway. In which case, you just go pick up the bottle of blue goop. So, it really just depends on where these items end up being. Raikou is headed back to Link's house. Continuing in Turtle Rock is Stump. Razorflame making their way around Misery Mire. Does not have any keys, though. Which is weird, because usually Mires like here have every key imaginable. Raikou's going to go ahead and do the 5-6 Pyramid Fairy, because he just became eligible to do that. I expect we're going to see Stump check this chest. A lot of times in the vanilla randomizer without Multiworld, you'll see this chest get skipped a lot. Because by the time you get to it, usually you've already gotten everything you need for the completion of the game, so you don't have to worry about that chest having an item. But in this case, because it's a multi-world, you definitely want to check this chest, and it only had a compass. So that pretty much says there's going to be a key on Laser Bridge. That effectively confirms a key on Laser Bridge. Razorflame may be looking at a map of this dungeon. It's definitely not a bad idea to look at a map every so often if just you're confused on the layout, if you're not familiar with it, or if you just need a refresher if you haven't done the dungeon in a while, which is very, very much a thing. Not even counting dark rooms. Pyramid Fairy has a whole lot of money. And not much else. In fact, nothing else. It's just money. So where does Raikou go now? We don't have a map. I don't have written down all the stuff that they've checked at this point. But it looks to me like they're heading towards the Ether Tablet. I'm getting a Mimic Cave check from Stump. And it looks like Razorflame is headed to their boss. Gonna pick up this magic refill here. Definitely a good thing to get. And welcome to Mire's basement. This is generally considered to be the hardest of the rooms to do dark. I personally find Turtle Room is harder. If you don't have Fire Rod, I find Turtle Room is harder. If you do have Fire Rod, this is probably tougher. And what is at the Ether Tablet for Raikou? It is half magic. And is that BK mode for Raikou? It might be. I don't know what checks they have left to do. Crystal Roller Room in Turtle Rock does not have anything there. Looks like RaikouRider is going into the Turtle Rock portal. Does not have Ether to get in. See what they decide to do with it. It looks like there are no options left for RaikouRider, so he is going to wait outside of the Turtle Rock entrance until that Ether comes in, so that he can go into Turtle Rock. Razorflame is trying to get the magic powder and gets it. And Stump is now doing Laser Bridge. Gets a bottle for Raikou. But not much else. Well, you know, except the boots. boots are kind of important. The boots are kind of required, actually. Trinex is going to go down. Vitreous goes down on Razorflame's side. That is their third crystal. Fortunately, does not quite get sent back where they would like. Now that they're back in the light world, my guess is they're going to go ahead and do the double-chested fairy, as it's sometimes called. Sort of rock complete for Stump. They just need their hook shot and they're good to go. Again, Raikou just needs their ether. And Stump is immediately going to go to Desert. Wasting no time, go ahead and get that crystal done. And it looks like Razorflame is actually going to go ahead and make the Swamp play. From a sheer item number standpoint, it makes sense to do. It has 6 items in the dungeon, plus the 1 item on Sahasrara, so it's very possibly could have that hookshot or that ether that are being looked for right now. Here. Big key for Desert for Stump. Gonna go ahead and check the big chest. So Hasrilla seeks a green pendant for a heart piece. That's actually good information to get. So now Razorflame knows that the green pendant reward here is not the ether that's being looked for. Stump is going to go ahead and finish off Desert. Razorflame is in Swamp, doing all the swampy things. Let's see if Razorflame decides to go ahead and do left side or come back in for left side after beating Argus. Let's see, maybe a 1 cycle Lambo? Ooh, that's a good spawn actually. Nope, not 1 cycle. It's gonna be a 2 cycle. Just a map on the boss, but that is a crystal. So we're down to 1 item for each player. But that is all the dungeons that Stump has... Well, all the crystal dungeons that Stump can complete. Stump can go back and kill Armos on Eastern, and they don't know what their pedestal is. For all they know, the pedestal could be required, so maybe that's where they go next, is go ahead and do the Eastern Palace check. A male for RaikouRider is going to give him that nice black suit with the red visor. I'm going to see a Bonk Rocks and probably a King's Tomb check from Stump, as they just got their boots. Just the heart container. And in King's Tomb will be just a heart piece. Neither of those are what the runners are looking for. Now, this kind of thing can happen when you get down to one item left if you've just done all of your checks. Let's see where Stumpy is headed now. Looks like Razorflame is going to go ahead and just do the whole left side swamp real quick. We might be getting a bumper ledge, graveyard ledge check over here on Stump's side. Bumper ledge is going to be a sword. That is Razorflame's final sword. And the final shield for Raikou. Just a map. Passed through the bumper. And this will be gold sword for Razorflame. So everybody is on gold sword now. There's not a single person in this game that is not on gold sword. And I'm gonna pull up the map of Swamp. Does not have the big key. Checking Graveyard Ledge for Stump. Looks like Razorflame's gonna have to come back for that big chest. Just a heart piece. Gonna leave that there. Looks like Stump is headed over to Catfish. Draining the water in Swamp. To find 10 arrows and a compass. So that means the big key is going to be on Argus himself, which can happen because normally you get the big key to get the hook shot to get to the back of the dungeon, but there's no actual big doors. Well, I mean, the big key could be here, I guess. No, it's not. Catfish has a red rupee. That's always fun. So what's that? Stump is kind of running out of places to go to. Razorflame still has a lot of places that they can go to. Because they kind of got a late opening to the seed with where Hammer and where their hammer and where their Dark World access was, being so late. They kind of just got the option. They kind of just have everything available now, which sometimes is tough to route because you're like, okay, well, if I can do everything, which should I do first? Like doing a green pendant dungeon with 6 items in it first? Okay, yeah, there's reasonableness behind that. I mean, there's really reasonableness behind most decisions first, except like, I don't know, early Super Dark Agate. That's kind of a thing. You can do it. Just probably not what you want to do. Argus will go down here. And that is a dead jellyfish, rewarding with the big key, as expected. And the dead rocks block the way to Turtle Rock. Womp womp. Looks like he just needs, or they just need to go back for the big chest. That's all they got to do here. And the big chest will have an item in it because the map and compass have both been seen. Ooh, gonna go first for the bonk chest in Hookshot Cave. Hookshot can't be here, by the way, because logically you can be required to bonk to these. It is not the hookshot, though. At least not for Stump, but that would be the only hookshot left. We're kind of at the point where once you see a required item, you know who it's going to go to because there's only one person that's missing each of the items. Ooh, but Stump, kind of low on health here. He needs to be careful. The big chest in Swamp Palace is a red rupee. That's what you wanted to see. And a Spike Cave check from Stump. Opting to go for the cape. Razorflame with the Swamp Palace done. We'll see where they go next. And hookshot for Stump in Stump Spike Cave. Stump is now in go mode. Stump now has access to everything they need in order to complete the seed. My guess is Stump is first going to go ahead and just do Swamp. Yep, you can't jump off the ledge with the big bomb. Doesn't work. You gotta walk the long way. Thankfully, you can't get hit while you're carrying the big bomb. We might see Stump check the final 3 chests of Hookshot Cave before going into Ganon's Tower, assuming we don't find Ether here in Swamp. If Ether's here in Swamp, then, well, obviously, Raikou can go do Turtle Rock, and then we're done. Gotta walk a little bit away from there. Gotta walk a little bit away from the bomb to open that up. Yep. Stump is now in Swamp. That's a hint. Other randos exist. They do. Heart Piece and red goo in a bottle at the Pyramid Fairy. Where does Razorflame go now? Thanks to red potion to get a blue potion back. Seems like a good trade. That seems like a good trade to me. My guess is based on the way Razorflame is currently routing, they're probably going to go to Pod next. Which again, makes sense. It's a crystal dungeon that they have to do. It has a lot of items in it, so... yeah, I think Pod here makes a lot of sense to do. And they have to do it anyway, so... If you have to do the dungeon anyway, you might as well just do the dungeon now. Again, we don't know where the ether is. We do not know where Raikou's ether is, so all of these checks are good checks to do until that ether is found. And all these... And the way the runners are doing it makes sense. I mean, sure, in Stump's case, he kind of couldn't do anything because he didn't have a hook shot. But in Razorflame's case, it makes sense to go ahead and do Pod now because it's your highest check density, combined with having a crystal, which means you've got to do it. I must say, it's surprising that normally there's at least one BK mode before, like, the endgame BK mode that people get into. So the fact that we had none is pretty good. So both runners that are actively able to go are going. Razorflame's about to enter Pod, and Swamp is about to be completed by Stump. Opting to go for that. I'm not quite sure what they're attempting to do here. Oh, are they gonna do a diver down? Oh, interesting. I've not... This feels weird to me, doing a diver down to set this up. I don't know if they've gotten the key yet, either. Oh, they haven't. Okay. Well, that makes a little bit more sense, then. Big key in the first chest of Pod means that you were required to have the bow to do anything in here. Of course, Razorflame had their bow pretty early, so that's not a so the bigger factor was just how late the Dark World access was to get in here. Just some bombs in that chest. And 20 bucks in the other. A hint for where the flippers are. Doing the Mimic Room in Pod for Razorflame. No big key for Stump. They'll have to come back later. Probably gonna set up a diver down here. Gets the diver down pretty quick. To be rewarded with a map and a big key. Looks like Stump is gonna go right back to that big chest. The staircase is weird. I don't know why it does that. Other than just, you know, generic reasons. Or raisins, as some might say it. Jump back to the big chest to get powder. Well, that does open up Magic Bat. It's also a good safety to have. Razorflame is going to start making their way through some of the center of Pod before going to the back. And a book for Stump. found in Pod. Two keys now for Pod for Razorflame. Stump is about to be done with their Swamp Palace. And then they have a couple of checks they can still do before Ganon's Tower, including checking what the ped is. Yes, they can pick up what's on the ped, but why go kill Armos if you don't need to? Verify if you need to kill Armos before you go fight Armos. Kind of deal. It's faster to do that than to go through all of Eastern, if you're looking for speed. If you just want to kill Armos for the sake of killing Armos, you certainly can. But if you know ped is nothing, and you know Armos doesn't have an item, and you're looking for that last item to get somebody out of BK, or get them to go mode, probably better off just checking what it is manually. So that's 7 crystals for Stump. Stump is the first of our runners to be eligible to go into Ganon's Tower. Immediately gonna go check out Bombos. I like this play. You're right here, there's no reason not to. With how late book was, you just haven't seen it yet. It is... Blue Peel. Get the bombs out to open this door up. Oh, but takes a fall. Gonna have to reset that room to get another shot at it. Gonna see spin speed on Stump's side for a little bit here. Let you move extremely fast. And into the dark maze. Now, based on that, there should be a key somewhere in the next 4 chests. At least one, if not 2. Just some bombs. And what does the ether tablet for Stump contain? Bombs. My guess is now Stump will probably check Hookshot Cave, given that there's still an item missing for a go mode, and then probably just go into Ganon's Tower. Gonna get a bloopy there, so the keys are gonna be downstairs. That's 1. That's 2. So then Harmless Hellway should have an item, and Helmosaur should have an item. I don't know if all the dungeon items have been seen yet. And back to the overworld with Stump. He's gonna go check what his pet is. Or their pet is, sorry. I've been bad about that. Right, so it looks like the only thing left to do in Pod for Razorflame is going to be to do Helmosaur. We're about to get another pet check. Do we have a pet seed? Survey says... no. No pet seed. Looks like some of the runners might be discussing amongst themselves where this is. But I think... No, there's still some checks Stump can do. We know it's not a ped seed, but they haven't been to Mire yet. There's still one item remaining in Eastern according to their tracker. So, looks like Stump is going to go clean up the remaining checks that they do have before going into Ganon's Tower. And I guess I should mention, this seed has been vetted to not have progression in Ganon's Tower. It's not necessarily pre-filled with non-progression items in Multiworld, but for the sake of making sure that we stay on or at estimate, we figured it was just less headache to not have GT, to have GT not have any progression in it. Plus, nobody likes to triple dip Ganon's Tower. Razorflame is about to finish off their pod, as Stump is about to, well, really get started in their mire. So Mire only has 2 items in it, but again, as long as there's an item missing for go mode, pretty much every check is valuable. However, because there's only 2 items in Mire, this could be very quick, this could be very long. It really just depends on how deep and where those items are, because Mire is very scattered in terms of finding everything. Mire is extremely scattered. Good old spiky death room. There's a big key, which is not bad to get, because the big key does allow you to check the big chest. Good shot on the Helmosaur King from Razorflame. Completing Palace of Darkness. And finds the compass. So where to next for Razorflame? My guess will be Skullwoods and maybe dip into Thieves Town. And the reason I say that is those 2 dungeons are pretty close together. They're both quick to do. Even if you're looking for all the items, they're both pretty quick to do. And the 2 of them combined have more items than Ice Palace does. I don't foresee an early Turtle Rock, because you want to... Again, you want to try to put Turtle Rock off for as long as possible to only have to climb the mountain once. Even in a multi-world setting, if you have everything available to you, you're still okay to put Turtle Rock off a little bit, I think. And, yep, they're going right to Kakariko. This is probably a Skullwoods clear. Thieves Town Pendant is always a weird one, because Thieves Town usually is pretty quick, but it's also a pendant, so... And Razorflame knows that their pedestal is just couch cash. Are they going to Hammerpegs? They're going to Hammerpegs. Okay, well, that's not a terrible idea, actually. They're right here, and Hammerpegs have to be done at some point anyway, so... Looks like they're trying to do the Hammer Dash. To do the Hammer Dash, you have to press the Hammer and Dash buttons at the exact same time. Otherwise, you kind of just bonk. There we go. There's the Hammer Dashes. it takes a little bit of just getting used to the inputs. And yeah, on these last three, like, just doing them the normal way is not even a big deal. It's really those first 3 rows that you want to try to hammer dash if you can. That's both Meyer items for Stump. Nothing there. Where to next for Razorflame? Stump is probably just going to go to Ganon's Tower at this point, because there's really nothing else that I think they can do. I don't think they have any other checks available. Or do they? Razorflame going to go check Sick Kid. They will find bombs. Let's see where they decide to go from here. That is in the middle of a wall, Stump. You kind of can't do that there. Looks like they're going to go ahead and do Magic Bat. Stump is going to go check their last item in Eastern. And this is the kind of thing that I was talking about earlier, where you really want to be thorough in the multi-worlds. Because any of these items that are being looked at right now could be that ether that Raikou needs. Fortunately, not on Magic Bat, just 20 rupees. Stelphos? There they are. Sometimes the Stelphos don't like to spawn. And sometimes they like to spawn very weirdly. I don't quite get it. Alright, let's see where Razorflame goes from here. I believe the last item that is needed for Stump is going to be in Arbos. Alright, so Razorflame is going to go ahead and do Thieves Town. Now, you could make the argument to do Skullwoods first, because again, Skullwoods is crystal, you have to do it anyway, and there's Ether. First chest of Thieves Town is Ether. So I believe that puts all of the runners in, I think that puts all the runners in Go. Yeah, I think that puts everybody in just Go mode. Because we see Stump going ahead and just going for GT, although, to be fair, Stump doesn't really have much else to do anyway. Looks like Razorflame is going to go ahead and finish out this Thieves Town. Or maybe not. Maybe they just wanted the first 4. They just wanted the first 4. You know, that's fine. Maybe you find an extra heart. Maybe you find an extra bottle. Yeah, first 4 Thieves totally makes sense. I could see wanting to clear out the back if you're concerned about either health or not. Or somebody requesting selfish or whatnot. Maybe you go back there to see if you can find additional bottles or whatever. But, like, so far, there's, like, nothing, like, realistically speaking, there's no, like, strictly right or wrong decision to make in this game at all. I mean, again, outside of, like, Super Dark Aga. And that's just because Super Dark Aga's awful to have to do. But elsewise, there's really no right or wrong decisions to make. It's just the ones that you're going to make. There are certain things that routing Rise are definitely more or less efficient. And some would say that, say, if you're over on the side with Eastern and all that, skipping Catfish is the wrong decision. But again, it also depends on the context. In a race setting, yeah, that skipping Catfish might be the right decision. In a multi-world setting, you want to be more thorough, so you don't generally want to skip the Catfish. But there's a lot of situational things that can make a decision right or wrong. So Stump is going to be our first runner into Ganon's Tower. All three of our runners are going to ultimately be looking for the Ganon's Tower big key, as well as one small key before going up to the top. And that's a one chest big key for Stump. And a small key. So that's like, that is the exemplar of a perfect Ganon's Tower. You want that exact combo in the first two chests so you can just go. You don't even have to do the basement. That's what you want to see. Now, this is the one part of Ganon's Tower that hard requires bow, such that even if your Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness are crystals, or pendants, you have to get the bow no matter what. You cannot beat the game without it, just because of this one set of rooms coming up. Not this room, but this one here is a red mimic room, and the one after this is another red mimic room, so you have to have 8 arrows to do this dungeon if you do not have silver arrows. If you have silver arrows, you only need 4. But yeah, you can tell by the way that Raikou was not getting all the chests in here. There are no more items that need to be gotten. The runners are just going to the finish line now. And you know, I think I like... Oh. I thought Razorflame was going to go for killing the Gibdos off, but no, they just did the room with the Gibdos alive. I like that. Alright, so now it's Razorflame's turn to go against Mothula. Now, one of the interesting things about this game in general is Go mode Ice Palace generally is just quick. Even without Icebreaker, it's quick. Raikou looking for a key, gets a key. That means Laser Bridge will not be required for Raikou this seed. Mothula is not exactly the easiest boss in the world to kill. Even if you have a lot of equipment, just because the spikes deal a fixed amount of damage. So no matter what, you're taking a heart of damage. But Mothula goes down. Good fight from Razorflame. And with that, they are 2 crystals away from going into Ganon's Tower. They just have Ice Palace and Turtle Rock left. And of the two, I imagine Ice Palace is going to happen first. Alright, so with that with Flute, I'm guessing Razorflame's gonna Flute to spot 8 to get the ice. Going to spot 2, checking their potions. That's perfectly reasonable. Yeah, that makes sense. Make sure you're all good up on potions, because the next 2 dungeons that they have to do are pretty tough, and even, like, it's better to take the little bit of extra time to make sure that you get through the dungeon than it is to die in the dungeon, without a doubt. Like, dying is slow. Taking the time to go check your potion status is faster than that, for sure. Plus, it's also a comfort level thing. You gotta do what you're comfortable with, and if you're not comfortable doing it with no potions, then go buy a potion. Raikou's picked up their final crystal. They are now eligible to go into Ganon's Tower. They are also going to be looking for the Ganon's Tower big key. They'll be hoping that it's as fast as Stump's was. And Razorflame is now in Ice Palace. Let's see if we see a ice break out of them. We may not. Again, it all depends on how comfortable you are doing the trick. It's by no means required, and the logic doesn't assume you can do it. The logic, I don't even think, assumes the bomb jump. The logic does assume that you can... The logic does take into account if you can get Red Cane before Ice Palace, but I don't think it takes the bomb jump, and it definitely doesn't take Icebreaker into account. Good use of the gold sword there to clear this room out. First chest of ice is a big key. That's really good, actually. Because finding the big key means that you don't have to worry about where all the keys are in the dungeon. I do believe that the big key has to be before Cold Stare, though. Because I'm pretty sure there's no logical way you get to Cold Stare without the big key. Then we're going to see... a heart container go over to Razorflame. Probably appreciative of that. That's Sank Heart as well. And we're going to see Moldarm 2. As Raikou's going through their GT. And immediately gets blocked off the edge. No Moldarm for you. Raikou's going to clear out all these Stalfos. Makes sense because you do have to leave this room if the big key's not in here. No big key. And it looks like Razorflame is going to go. Looks like Razorflame is going to go through Ice Palace the normal way. So we'll see if they do the bomb jump or if they just do it straight vanilla. Now remember, they do have the Cane of Samaria, so that's going to cut down on the amount of time of a straight vanilla by a lot. They're thinking about it. Looks like they're going to go for the bomb jump here. Looks like they are going to go for the bomb jump. A little too far. Generally, the way you want to set this up is you want to have your... Have I been silent this whole time? I forgot I had push to talk on. I thought I was hitting the button. Okay, so what we missed was an extremely clean cold stare fight from Razorflame. Raikou's now in the Ganon fight. Stump has finished their Ganon fight. And Razorflame just needs to do some Turtle Rock and do some they're gonna have to ride around on the platform to do this. They are getting the hookshot out, so they're gonna hookshot to the torch. And that is the quick way to do the room. That does require a hookshot, and hookshot is not actually required for Turtle Rock, so the hookshot can be in here. You never want it to be in here, but it can be in here. Raikou gets a quick phase 3 on Ganon. And the back of Razor Leaf Steve's Town had Raikou Silvers. So, seeing as we're at the end of the game, yeah, this will be 12 spins for Raikou, and he's already off to a good start. We'll see if Razor Leaf decides to skip the lava room chest here. I don't think he'll skip Chain Chomps. Or they'll skip Chain Chomps, sorry. I keep doing that. Man. Need to not do that. Anyway, gonna try to boomerang it. Gets the boomerang off, actually. It's a good way to do that. Then you're gonna shoot an arrow at the switch. Chain Chomp blocked. Oh, that one felt like it, and then you gotta do it again. That first arrow felt like it should have worked, for what it's worth. That felt like that was close enough. But, what do I know? That's a key, that's good. They just have to go downstairs and go into the basement. Raikou will finish. Ganon off in a fire explosion, and will go ahead and collect their Triforce of Power. All that is left is Razorflame finishing off Turtle Rock, finishing off Ganon's Tower, and finishing off Ganon. GG's to RaikouRider. And scene. 181 out of 216 for collection rate for Stump. Yes, push to talk is completely OP. I agree, push to talk is OP. So yeah. Looks like they did opt to skip that door. They're headed straight for Trinex here. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Although I wonder what $200 would be in rupees. It's a question for another time. But yeah, I think overall the seed was kind of weird. The chain for Raikou's book was kind of interesting. And it looks like Razorleaf is probably Razorleaf, Laserflame. And getting all things mixed up here. But they might actually be looking for magic here. Because magic is definitely something you need in this dungeon. Gonna opt not to check that chest. They do have the required amount of keys to get through this Turtle Rock, so they don't actually need to check anything else here. This must have been a very key-heavy early Turtle Rock. Now, the maze. Going straight to the bottom, but you gotta hit the switch. Looks like they're trying to find their way around the maze to get back up to the switch. Or maybe they've already hit the switch. Sorry, folks, I have a couple of windows open, so I'm trying to make sure I keep track of everything. There we go. Yep, they've hit the switch. I'm just trying to get back. And with that, they can go to Trinex. They're going to need to hit the switch one more time. Probably still looking for magic. There is a magic refill right outside of the Trinex store. Their health looks good. They have half magic. They should, based on what I've seen from them, they should have no trouble with this fight at all. Going into the Trinex fight. Going to start with the Ice Head. Not something we see very often, but can be effective. Oh, that Ice Head is still around. Okay, so the Fire Head goes down. The Ice Head is going to get some ice onto the field. So that ice will be slippery in the event that it gets walked on. The rods do actually damage the heads themselves. I think if you hit the head with a rod twice and then 2 gold sword hits, that's enough to kill it, but I don't know for certain. That's what it looked like there. The main body, you are going to have to hit that centerpiece. I like the early potion here. I like the early potion with the number of potions you have. Now, bear in mind, the spin attacks with gold sword do not do extra damage, except against a single enemy. There's one enemy in the game called Hinox that takes extra damage from gold sword hits, or gold sword spins. Trinex is down, and with that, Razorflame is now eligible to go into Ganon's tower. Now, there are, once again, 22 chests where the big key in Ganon's tower can be. Razorflame is looking for that big key and at least one small key before going up to the upstairs portion of the dungeon. Once there, you just have to climb up the tower and, yeah. With the stairway open, here we go. Always gonna check those two chests on the right side first. These are generally the fastest checks in GT to do. Not finding a whole lot. Gonna go opt to do the right side first, I think. No? Okay. There's a lot of, like, stuff that goes behind whether you do right side first, left side first. Ultimately, I think it ultimately does come down to player preference. Some would say that if you feel like you're behind, you should do right side first. Some would say that if you feel like you're ahead, you can safely do left side first. I say do whatever you feel like doing. Because I'm not, like, I figure if you're looking for the GT big key, you do what you think feels right to do for that. Checking out the DM's room. Nothing in here, but a lot of keys. Gonna have to kill these Stalfos to leave. And let me tell you, red Stalfos, I don't know if it's just me, but these things seem to jump about a good 50 feet every time you try to hit them. They certainly can become one of the more annoying enemies in the game. Good bonk there. Gonna hook shot to the chest, take a couple damage, but ultimately finds the compass. Sadly, not great. Looks like you're gonna go ahead and do the left side here. Makes sense. It does have more checks ultimately. Going for the boomerang strat. You know, I like it. Gotta be careful with this set of switches, because if you place the bomb too close, you're gonna hit both of them, and then you're gonna reset the room back to the original state it was in. Ganon's tower is tricky like that. If you ask me, it's well built. Like, I really do like I honestly like the basement of Ganon's tower more than the climb. Because some of the puzzles in the basement feel very like, yeah, we, the people that have played this, and really anyone that's watched this knows the answers to the puzzles, but if it's your first time playing, some of the puzzles are kind of brain teasers, like, okay, the double switch, so you just put the bomb next to the switch, and then, oh, it hit both switches, so you gotta just find a way to place it a little further back, or use the cane. I'm gonna check the Rando room, a room that I at least did not know existed until, the Rando came about. Not gonna find... Nope. Not gonna find much there. Didn't find much in the first three chests, so... It was a decent chance, but, you know. Sometimes it's not there. Gonna opt to go for the right side one. Ooh. Doing a little bit of a clever walk around. This is ultimately where they need to be. Oh. You can walk alongside holes if you're on the very, very bottom of the tile. And there is a way to bonk this. It's a pretty tight bonk, though. And you lose maybe only a couple of seconds if you don't bonk it, so... If you miss it, you miss it. It's not a big deal. That's not the type of thing that's like, oh no, this... whatever. Gonna go for the bonk here. Have to remember to start the dash, then press the button while then press the direction while holding dash. That's how you do a turn bonk, as I call it. You can also just step back a little bit and just get just out of grab range for it. He's gonna opt to stun that. They're gonna opt to stun that. There you go. That's the bonk dash, or the turn bonk. Hi, Bob. Bye, Bob. Alright, so we're going into the Ice Armos round, or the Ice Armos fight. Technically Armos round 2, but there's ice on the floor. And with silver arrows, these are only going to require 1 hit each to kill. Now, the icy floor does make it a little bit harder to hit them, but it can be done. I feel like that one should have hit. Just saying. But they will get through. They will eventually get in the door. Ice physics are, like, the worst when it comes to getting indoors. There we go. And they are going to find a red rupee, the big key, and we're never going to know what's in another chest. As Razorflame is off to climb Ganon's tower and go take a course in agometry. With that, just have to do the spike room. The spikes can block your arrows, so that's kind of annoying. This is one of those rooms where I find it's half the time just better to take the damage and just go for it. They have to be a little careful. If they run out of arrows up here, okay, they're good. They have arrows. Set out the bonk. Oh, does not bonk on the door. Good placement. Very good placement. So Razorflame is about to enter the gauntlet. Falling off there is actually not the end of the world, because if you fall off there, you kind of just dash your way through. Oh, no. This is not good. They need to be careful here. If they can't take too much more damage, or else they will end up taking a death. Got the bonk to get to the fairies. This will give them some health back, which I imagine they want. Ooh, actually gonna go for a capture in a bottle. That's actually not bad. That is not bad at all. You have the empty bottle to work with, you might as well use it. And up into the gauntlet they go. And I like the bombos. The bombos, like, the gauntlet is one of those things where bombos is very Bombos is a very consistent way to get through it. And if your goal is just to get through it, Bombos is the way to go. There are some strats you can do that generally will be a little bit quicker than Bombos. But again, if your goal is to get through the gauntlet, Bombos is a very consistent, and very safe way to get through Gauntlet. And I personally recommend it if you're just starting out. Use Bombos and Gauntlet. Like, especially if you're concerned about any of the fights that are coming up, or you just want to push a button and get through it. Bombos is a good way to push the button and get through it. Especially this ice room. Alright, going into round 2 of the Land Molas. There's a couple of different ways that you can handle Land Molas with the equipment loadout that Razorflame has. They can opt to use Gold Sword. Gold Sword will be 2 hits. They can opt to use the Silver Arrows. Silver Arrows will be a single hit, but are pretty tough to hit with on average, because you have to time it really well, and the hitbox is small. You can use your Gold Sword, which is going to be 2 hits with Gold Sword. It's going to be 2 hits with Fire Rod. However, on that cycle, getting all 3 of them right about as they come out of the ground. Good final cycle to that. I'm going to go ahead and get a little refill over here. Definitely take the arrows in the heart. And that is the gauntlet. They are now heading up to the 5th floor, which is conveyor floor? I don't know what to call this floor. Gets all the Wizrobes. I'm not sure if they're super familiar with the path through here, but they got it. Very good. Yeah, I guess this could become player floor. Second Wizrobe room. It's interesting in how in this game the Wizrobes are actually kind of, well, weak. The Wizrobes in this game are a lot weaker than their previous game counterparts. Now here's one of the 2 final torch rooms of the game. You will need to light all 4 of these torches and then reach the door before the torches go out. Using lamp here is not bad if you're not in the best shape on magic. Or if you get to Ganon's Tower and don't have Fire Rod, which is actually a thing. The way that you would... The stipulation to go into Ganon's Tower without a Fire Rod is you have to have Turtle Rock and Skullwoods both be pendants. And you also have to have Bombos be accessible for Ice Palace. Because Skullwoods and Turtle Rock are the only 2 dungeons that strictly require Fire Rod. The rest can be done with Lamp or don't have torch puzzles. Gonna go for the placement. Gets it. Good second bomb. Very good second bomb. Gonna go ahead and refill that. Probably not liking the Buddy Beam so much. Gets a key. So that would have bailed them out if they had done this differently. And they are going to opt to powder the Anti-Fairy. Or not. They're gonna go straight to Moldorm 2. Moldorm 2. I do like using the spin attacks here because you get that lasting effect, so it's easier to hit the Moldorm with it. And that's probably the biggest benefit using the spin attack with the Gold Sword is the output lasts forever, and it's a red rupee. So with that, it is time for Razorflame to go take a course in Agaometry. This room is tougher if you don't have a cape. If you have a cape, you just kind of cape and run through. But even there, they handled it perfectly fine without a cape. So here's the Aga 2 fight. Here be the Agatu. Gets one there. Two. Ooh, gets a double. Very good, very good. That one shot looked like it was a little bit off for the double. But it was able to get in. Okay, good. Good, line this up. Oh, missed the timing, but still recovers. Good recovery. Was able to still get at least one. And this last one should be enough to do it. Yep. Agatu goes down. All that is left is Ganon. This may be a sub 3. So now it is Razorflame's turn to take their try at Ganon. They will need 6 hits to get through phase 1, 6 to get through phase 2, 4 hits to get through phase 3, and 4 silver arrows to get through phase 4, as they do have that option. I'm going to go ahead and pull the cape out. Silver arrows will do damage. Spin attacks will not do more damage here. In fact, spin attacks are actually slower than just slashes. So one thing about the gold sword is it is the highest damage class, so there's nothing above it. Again, except for the Hinox, which are the bomb-throwing dudes that you see on the Dark Overworld. Already in phase 3, using cape strats to get through phase 2 cleanly. Does have to watch their health. They do have to watch their health a little bit here. I don't believe Ganon has anything that can kill them in one hit right now. But they just have to be careful is all I'm saying. But I think they'll be fine. They have a fairy in a bottle as well. So with that fairy in a bottle, that doesn't actually become relevant. Okay. Here we go. So first things first, gonna pull out the silvers. Ooh, actually, gotta be careful. Gotta be careful. Ooh, that was close. That was really close. Looks like they are going to opt to go ahead and potion. That was very close to a fall there. Good on Razorflame for not falling, though, because that could have been disastrous if that had gone differently. Let me get one hit in. Remember, both torches have to be lit. Stops Ganon mid-teleport to get him in a good position. Gonna get 2 silvers there. And this should be the final one. Oh, Ganon recovers just fast enough. But they've got this, though. They've definitely got this fight in the bag. Oh, missed the swing. Got the swing there. Final silver arrow to the side. Ganon is going to explode in a blaze of glory. And everybody get your GGs in chat for Razorflame bringing an end to this run in just under 3 hours. Quite the run all 3 of our runners put on for us. 2:59:42. A lot of good boss fights, a lot of good stuff. A little bit of Troll in the Seed, but you gotta get that. But yeah, really good run from all 3 of the runners, and definitely a well-earned GG, and probably a lunch for them as well. So if there's any... spoiler warning, I have the spoiler log up here, so if there's any items you guys want to know the locations of while we still have a little bit here, I can give those to you. Elsewise, well, yeah.
Well, thanks very much for the cast right there. That was awesome. It looks like it was a pretty good run all around. Definitely came in well under schedule, so that was pretty nice. It looks like the runners that will be next with RuneScape, they are going to be a little delayed, so we are going to find something to fill up the next about 60 minutes or so. So we'll probably sit here a bit longer in case anyone has any questions, but then we will jump to an intermission, set up something to fill the time. That's a multiplayer experience, and then we will be back after that. So I'm not sure if there's any questions that have appeared in the meantime.
I haven't seen any yet, but I'll still be around for a little bit until they throw me out.
Okay, sounds good. I'll just wait another minute or two, see if anyone has anything, then we can jump on to an intermission.
Okay.
Okay, well, I think in this case we can go to intermission. Thanks again for commentating this great co-op multi-world run, and hopefully we'll get to see more of that in the future.
So thank you for having me, and again, GG's to all three of our runners for putting on an excellent show for us.
All right.